looking for someone good that supports us, and that's the area of marketing, okay? And especially what we're gonna call inbound marketing. The webinar is designed to give you an structured approach of how to go about how to do inbound marketing, okay? And some tools that could actually practically help you tomorrow to start working with it, okay? So I'm gonna share a presentation, and the presentation seeks to kind of structure the content that I'm gonna go through, but do please hop in at any moment that you have a question, okay? Because the idea is that the content that you receive today is of practical use, okay? So I'm gonna start by sharing that screen, okay? And what I would love then for you is to confirm that you're able to see the content, okay? Which is the important thing. So I'll check with everyone. Can we see the content? Okay, I cannot hear you at the moment, so maybe with the moderator of Bridge for Brilliant, this.
I can see it, yes.
Okay.
If anyone cannot see it, can just write on the chat so I can check it, okay?
Okay, super. Okay, so it's also my first time here in, in Zoom, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about inbound marketing. And I think one of the first things that I wanted to highlight is that actually inbound marketing is about remarkable content. And it's about rising through remarkable content, okay? Now, that sounds very nice, but it's actually quite a challenge to rise up with this, okay? Before we go on, my name is Nastasia Velasco. Nice to meet you all. I'm the founder and CEO of Thought Innovation. We are a firm or a company that's advocated to facilitate market leadership for entrepreneurs, okay? We focus in strategic intelligence, in network communities, and in technologies, okay? Now, what is the journey that we have ahead? Basically, first is to learn a little bit what is this that's called inbound marketing, okay? When we talk about inbound marketing, how can we develop a strategy that is supported in a plant or through a plant, and that has some tools that makes us do this, okay, make it possible. And we're gonna go about some cases. These are biased cases because they're my favorite. So we can, of course, open the discussion of other cases, and you can also send me more questions about any particular industry case, and I'll make sure to share with you. Okay, the presentation was designed to be short and sweet. Okay, so it's not going to be too long. So then let us start. Okay. First, let's see some stylized facts or some key facts, okay, that allowed us to understand why inbound marketing is important, right? And here I wanted to share with you some statistics, okay? As you see, I'm sharing what is called the State of the Inbound report, okay? It's by Hotspot. It was published already in 2018. Usually every marketer that is very excited about the inbound arena reads this report, okay? Because it's a nice source of information of what's going on. As you can see, inbound marketing has positioned itself as a global approach. And it varies, of course, according to the region, but certainly it's the main approach to market the products and the services nowadays. Now, not only is a global approach, okay, across the whole regions of the world, but it's also an approach that has proven effective, especially compared against outbound marketing. We're going to touch upon what each of these terms is a little bit later. So don't worry. I just want you to have the big picture initially. Now, besides being the global approach and being considered effective, Also, we have that when we talk about inbound marketing, we're talking about higher returns of investments, or what sometimes we also call higher social returns, okay? Higher response for those segments that we're trying to support, either through a business initiative or commercial initiative, or through a social or political initiative, okay? So, global approach, effective and generates return. No wonder why today then a lot of people is talking about inbound marketing as a door, as a key that opens the door actually to understand better your customers and provide them with value and connect with them better and actually make your initiative or business growth, okay? Now, what is inbound marketing, right? We just saw the picture, but what does this like really is about? Okay, let's go into detail. And I like to start, but what actually is not, okay? It is not a process that positions the products and the services through disruption as it was traditional or outbound marketing, which you basically were calling, we're doing the TV ads, we're fighting to be someplace in the magazine or in the newspaper, right? No, it's not about that. Which means that inbound marketing actually does not depend highly as compared with outbound marketing in the size of your wallet, but it depends more on your creativity, in your ability to actually connect with those that you see as the customer of your services, as the segment that you want to have impact, okay? There are diverse definitions of what actually inbound marketing is, and in this case, I brought you mine, okay? As you see, when I went through this process of even putting it together myself, I thought, okay, wait. When we talk about inbound marketing, is truly is achieving, okay, through the strategic generation and deliverable and delivery of content, that connection with the customer. Okay, there are other definitions, and I actually brought you one that is typically used, and you will hear a lot. That it's, well, inbound marketing is about creating one-to-one relationships that have lasting impact on your visitor and your brand. That sounds nice. But when it comes to the practical thing, right, that is what we always are looking for, it means like that you have, inbound marketing is putting strategically a content that is remarkable or useful to those customer segments that you want to provide something, that you want to aggregate value, okay? Now, this means that actually this approach is different from the previous approach. But what makes it different? Well, usually it says that it's different because when we talk about inbound marketing, we're talking about attracting people through ideas, okay? Through solutions, by stating how our products or services or initiative make a change. It's a dialogue, it's a speech, it's a narrative, it's a persuasion through that content, okay? So usually we'll be using tools like logins, social media, videos, and other tools, right? Where search engine optimization, we will see that it's something actually very important. This is totally different to what we used to call, as I said before, outbound marketing, or what was the traditional marketing, okay? Telemarketing, direct emails, email blasts, prints, paid search, okay? That's what it was. So in a synthesis, okay, inbound marketing is about creating content that people really love, yeah? And that sounds nice, but that's actually quite challenging and requires a lot of work, a lot of persistence, and a lot of a strategy. And as founders, we know that this is actually something that gets our heads at night, right? Now, the good thing is that having this view of, okay, what inbound marketing is different from the traditional marketing. It's more about the ideas, and I have some tools to put it. The focus is content. The good thing is that also throughout the years, the community of marketeers that has join the inbound wave, right, actually have developed what is a methodology for inbound marketing, okay? And this methodology or this set of steps allow us to put it in practice in a structured way so we can accomplish our strategy, okay? As we know, usually when we talk about marketing, sales, and customer success, whatever we work in those arenas is leveraging what we call our growth strategy, okay? That's another topic, but just to make the connection. Now, what are those steps that we can associate to inbound marketing? Well, usually they are categorized in 3 steps or 3 areas, okay? An area that is called attract, another area that is called engage, and another area that is delighting, okay? You are going to be doing this every time that you're gonna be generating content. You're either generating content, and when I mean content, I mean like articles, blog posts, podcasts, videos, okay? We will see the different spectrum that exists, but every time that we're generating this, we're generating it either to attract our customer segment, okay? Or either to engage with him, okay, or with them, or to actually keep delighting them, okay? Keep giving them what brought them to us, what made us the right choice to them, okay? As we see, also, every step actually has some main tools associated to it. When we talk about attracting, it's not something intangible, but actually something, okay, when we talk attracting, what should we do, right? So we talk about a set of tools that can be useful. Ads, videos, blogging, social media, content strategy, and we're gonna talk more about that. Or we talk about engagement tools, or we talk about delight tools. And in the presentation, you can see the different ones, okay? Now, more important, now that we understand what inbound marketing is, and that actually is not something, something intangible, but actually something that has the steps and that has some tools, okay, is understanding what are the bases of it. Because if we understand the fundamentals or the pillars of inbound marketing, then we can develop a strategy, right? We need to understand to change, right? Or to develop. Okay, so what are those things that we usually say are the pillars of inbound marketing? Well, it's what we call contacts. It's what we call the buyer persona. It's what we call the buyer journey. Is what we call the content. And finally, is what we call our goal, okay? These are the pillars of inbound marketing of your strategy. This means that every time that you're putting your strategy together, you're going through this. That sounds great. Now, what the hell is that? Because everything has different meanings, right? Well, when we talk about contact, okay, we're talking about anybody that your company is marketing to, is selling to, is partnering with, is engaging with, or employees, okay? These are individuals that you are creating a relationship with. These individuals are key to your inbound marketing strategy, because actually these individuals can be a first database of contact or network that can allow you to identify what are those products or services that could ultimately serve them, delight them, or bring them towards that you want to offer. As you see, what we're evidencing here is that actually contacts are like a first sphere for us to reach out, okay? So that means that when we talk about contacts, we're talking actually about potential receivers of our messages or of content, okay? Now, what is important is that as we grow in contacts, we segment those contacts, okay? Because not every contact that our educational, for example, initiative is interacting with are equally, right? Contacts are not equally, okay? They have different characteristics, they have different needs, and there's different things that we can offer as solutions and that are within the scope of our initiative, okay? So contacts are first pillar of what we call inbound marketing, okay? Then we have the second pillar, which is very, very important. That is what we actually call the buyer's persona. And I bet a lot of you has already heard about this because we talk about the buyer's persona or the persona a lot, okay? So we have someone joining in. Just heard it. Okay, amazing. So when we talk about the buyer's persona, what actually are we referring to, right? Well, we are referring to this ideal representation of our customer, okay? It should be based, and this is very important, on real data, okay? Or in some educated speculation within your industry or your market, okay? Because if not, it doesn't prove to be useful, okay? So this is actually something very important in inbound marketing. Please know your persona, okay? Because this is actually one of the key elements. Your persona, it's going to condition your messages. So to know who is that persona, it's key. As I put it here in a basic image, the buyer's persona is the earth, okay, from which your content and your business is going to grow, okay? So it's nothing, it's something very important. It's the base of your business, okay? It's your customer segment. So I put here an image, okay, of who tends to be my buyer persona, right? So for your cases, it will differ. It will differ who is your buyer persona, okay? What is important is that through research, you learn basic information about this persona, demographics about this persona, what identifies it, what are his goals, what are his challenges, how can you help him, what tends to be some obstacles that he has to face when it comes to using or introducing in his or her organization that product or service that you're trying to put forward, okay? And when you do your research, try to keep this qualitative data of what are the challenges, you know, these real quotes, because they actually allow you to make afterwards content about it, okay? So I want to go just on some examples because I don't know, as we know, there's different stages that sometimes we have in startups. We have early startups, we have scale startups, we have already companies. So I just want to point out some examples, okay? When we talk about the basic information of the person, what am I referring to? What's the role of that person that you expect to, you know, provide your product or service, okay? When I talk about the demographics, we're talking about the gender, the age, the income level, if you can have this, okay? When we talk about these identifiers, actually, it's, you know, how they talk, what they use, what they like, what they don't like, okay? When we talk about goals, it's thinking, what are they striving to achieve, right? That you can actually help them, that you can leverage them, okay? And when we talk about challenges, main obstacles, so I think the important thing for me to point out was basically the first categories, okay? Especially if you're an early startup, sometimes it's good to overview, okay? So key, let's know our buyer persona, because the buyer persona is gonna be the base, okay, for us to develop the content and hence to put in practice inbound marketing, okay? Now, as we saw, it's not enough to optimize the use of our contact or to learn about who is the buyer persona, but it's actually also important that we start understanding what we call the buyer's journey, okay? Which is different and is another pillar of what should be your inbound marketing strategy. Now, what is this that we call in marketing the buyer's journey? I put it right there. And as we see, it's simply this active process that anyone goes through when it comes to buying or seeking a product or a service, okay? All of us have experienced a problem that then we go, as nowadays, like 98% of the people go to internet to see, well, this problem that I have, you know, what is it? What can be some solutions? How can I solve it? Yeah, find what I needed. So this is basically what we refer to as the buyer's journey. Of course, it varies sometimes according to the industry, which are the first points where the buyers go, how long is that journey or short, okay? But usually, okay, we tend to model the buyer's journey, okay? How do we model the buyer's journey? Well, we say that the buyer's journey has 3 stages. Has what we call an awareness stage, has what we call a consideration stage, and has what we call a decision stage. Excellent, magnificent. What does that mean? Okay, that means in the awareness stage, we have this buyer persona, this person that you want to provide your product and service and that you want to learn about, know him or her in and out, okay, with a problem, okay, and doing what we call education search. He has a problem or an opportunity, so he's trying to define it, okay. So this is what we call the awareness stage, and we're gonna see later what is important for us to do, okay, in order to enter into this buyer's life at that stage, okay? But this is what we call the awareness stage. The moment in which the persona is trying to define, okay, its problem or its opportunity. That's what he's doing. He's trying that. Then we have the second stage, that is what we call consideration. In this stage, our buyer persona or persona, the one that we want to provide the product or service, already has framed his problem. He has defined the problem. Okay. So I have X or Y disease. You know, like I'm going to put here an example that you are actually providing medication. Okay. So the person has defined the disease. So I have this. Okay. Perfect. And now he starts in this consideration stage to look for solutions. Okay. Look for alternatives to that problem that he has defined, okay? So he's starting to look for the solutions there. And then finally comes what we call the decision stage. That is our buyer persona, okay? He already knows what he has scanned through the different alternative solution, and what he is doing is basically balancing who is the best provider or who is the one that he should use to solve his problem, okay? So he's making in that decision point the purchase or the decision to go with your solution or to go with the market solution, with those that are your competitors, okay? Because we're not alone in the world. We have competitors, okay? So in synthesis, when we talk about the stages, awareness is when the buyer's persona is then trying to define the problem or opportunity. Consideration is when he is balancing the solutions, the alternative, and decision is when he's finally selecting or purchasing that product or that service, okay? Now, why is this important? Why should we care this at all? Well, because it turns out that the buyer's journey is key to what we call our marketing machine, right? If you're a founder, okay, or an entrepreneur, as you know, many times we're the ones doing this job, right? And we got to do it right if we want to grow. So we don't have an opportunity to fail, right? So what does this mean? Each stage actually it connects with what you call your marketing funnel, okay? So in the awareness stage is the opportunity for you to generate through tools that we're gonna see in a couple of brief moments, okay? Visits and leads, okay? In the consideration stage, if you do your content job well, okay, you will be generating what we call marketing qualified leads or sale qualified leads. Okay, and in the decision stage, okay, which is in which he already does the purchase, if you do your work good in terms of content, then you will be achieving opportunities and customers. Hence, what we understanding the buyer's journey and providing the best content in each of these stages actually then has an impact in our marketing funnel, okay? So they're tied together, okay? Understanding them and seeing what we have to do then comes to be key, okay? Now, what allows us to reach this buyer's journey that has a persona, okay, with our marketing funnel and what we expect to gain from it? Something that we call content, okay? And I put something here that, yes, it's not academic. I will say I will provide you with the academic approach, don't worry, but it's a founder's approach, okay? And it's simply, when we talk about content, it's how we are wrapping the message that is making tangible our inbound strategy. So this is why I put you that wrapping paper there. You have different wrapping papers, and those wrapping papers actually each has a message, okay? And each will seek to achieve a tangible thing that is your inbound marketing strategy through the plan, okay? Now, this content, okay, or messages that people love, okay, that they I feel identify, that responds to the problems, that provide them with solutions and hence makes them take a choice, actually it's not something as intangible either, okay? When we talk about content, it has a process, okay? So usually what makes remarkable content is actually having a plan of what's the content that you're gonna generate, the creation of that content, the right distribution of that content, the analysis of that content, and then learn and repeat the process, okay? So sometimes I work in an organization in which we have to work with a startup. We work with the startup monthly, right? And we have worked with more than 500 startups. So sometimes we have many startups that have problem with content generation, but it's not a problem. It's simply that they are not working through the different things, right? So let's just have then this in mind. When we talk about content generation, it's really doing the plan, creating the content, distributing right, analyzing and repeating, okay? It's not an easy thing, and it's a continuous thing that we have to keep doing. What is important about the content is that we tailor the content to what we discussed before, to our buyer's persona, okay, and to our buyer's journey. If I'm trying to sell nuns uniforms for the church, okay, I'm not gonna send them a blog post on how to use sexy lingerie, okay? Because I'm not trying to sell that, right? I'm trying to sell nuns uniform. So this is a very drastic example just to make the point once again that when we talk about content, the content has to be fitted to what we call the buyer's persona, to what we call also the buyer's journey, and also it must have a process, which is the one that I'm putting you here, okay? Now, we have talked a lot about content, so I want, before we actually go to the content delivery, I want to talk a little bit about this here, okay? The plan. And I'm gonna allow myself to get out of here because I actually prepared something then for you right here, okay? That might ground this. I used to be a teacher, so I actually like things that are like pretty graphic, right? So as you see, when I tell you, oh, the content is actually conditioned by the understanding of the persona and the buyer's journey, this is what I mean, okay? When you generate content, it's not a post that you woke up one day and you wanted to write, especially if you want it to be strategic and for it to have impact in your business growth. It's going through the following steps. Oh, this that I'm gonna write or put there in the internet and that has impact on how people perceive my business and my initiative, okay, responds to my understanding of that person that I want to help or solve or bring a product or service in this way, okay? It actually also must have keywords that you want people to associate to you, okay? There are some words that you want that for these words to be associated to your initiative, to your product, to your service, and your content is the only space, the only chance, the battleground for you to win those keywords for your business and for people to associate you to them. So the content is the moment in which you have that opportunity, okay? Also, the content is the moment in which you can position in your personas buyer's journey, okay? Either by helping him define his problem or his opportunities, or either by presenting yourself as a solution, okay, or as an alternative to that problem that he has, or even by presenting yourself as the product that he has to buy, okay? So the content allows you, okay, also that. As you see, also the content has to be very clear, right? What is it that exactly wants to do, okay, wants to help that buyer's persona with? It also has a type that you have to decide. And the type is not something that you randomly decide. According to the buyer's journey, there's some types of contents that are more useful than others, okay? So for example, if your buyer is trying to define his problem for which you have a solution that is your product or your service, okay? So maybe to give him at that moment, a guide doesn't work, okay? But what works at that moment is better a blog post that makes emphasis on that type of problem that you identify when you did your research on the challenges that your persona faces, okay? And those challenges allows you to see, so my personas usually have this challenge. I'm gonna write a post on that. And you put a title to it, okay? 10 solutions to la la la. So people can, so this is the problem that I have. Read, then acknowledge you as an authority on it, look in your webpage, see what solutions you bring, and then compares them with other and maybe makes the decision, okay? Also, as we see, the content has an instructor, okay? It's either a list, a how-to, a fact, a best, so this is also important. And finally, the content should always, has its title, whatever, but more importantly, it should be aligned with one of your SMART objectives within your marketing plan, okay? So, I'm sorry, but this is just a way, like, I wanted you to see that when we talk about content planning, okay, what do we mean, okay? And how actually the generation of content, when it's remarkable, when it's good content, is content that goes through steps, okay, that has research on the back and that really is considering the customer as its base, okay? Okay, so let's keep on going then. Let's see here. So, as we said, it's not only then about this planning and the creation, okay? Another thing very key is what we call the analyzing of this information. Nowadays, you have great alternatives like Google Analytics and so on that you can check how the content that you're putting in the different channels is working, okay? How it's responding. But this is a call to action in this area. Do your analytics. So, because they actually allow you to see, well, should I actually be generating podcasts for Startup Meter Impact? Are they really bringing the lead, the qualified leads that we need or not? Yeah. So that's the other important key thing that I wanted to talk. Now, within the process, as we saw, before, there's something that's called a distribution. That is actually here what I have called or denominated as content delivery, okay? And I wanted to put it as something very specific because you can create an amazing structured content that really responds to your buyer's persona, that acknowledge his journey, it's positioned rightly, but this is the key thing. It must be positioned, right? It must be delivered. And the logistics of content are not as easy sometimes as we think, okay? As we can see here, we have different ways in which we can deliver our content, okay? Either through our web page, either through our blogs, either through our social networks, either through our landing pages, either through calls to action, or either through email marketing. And as you get more in depth into this area of how to optimize as founders your inbound marketing, you will see that there's actually books on each of these arenas, okay? So for me today, what was important to you is to show you that actually key to have customers actually say like that we have good content, that we have remarkable content, is to deliver it well. Okay, here's where come what many of you have heard, for example, that it's a headache that all of us have, that is called search engine optimization, right? Yes, this is a headache. All of us suffer with this. All of us want to be the first that comes out when the Google search, in the Google search, our customer put those keywords that we want to be associated. Okay, why? Because we have to compete against the other companies that actually also want to be associated with. And in order for us to try to be on top of the Google search, we start using different strategies. Okay, I discussed that maybe I could send them some content on search engine optimization because it's a very long area and I wanted to keep it short and sweet, okay? But just know that search engine optimization is key for the delivery. And it's gonna be one of the things that you're gonna be working the most to, okay? Besides also making your user experience, the experience that your customer has with your web page, okay? Something unforgettable, right? And that goes even how you put the titles, where you put the content, how do you buy the web page. So this is also a thing that comes into play when we talk about inbound marketing, okay? Maybe when we come in the area of questions, we can go on this. So I wanted to show you here an example. We have today a colleague, he's working in the area of education, Emmanuel, right? Well, Emmanuel, this is an organization that they're actually not a commercial startup, okay? But they are actually like a nonprofit organization doing inbound marketing. Right? They're not focused in education as you are, but they're focusing actually in education, but not in your area. They're focusing in teaching fathers how to be better fathers. Especially here, the buyer's persona are military fathers that have left their kids because they had to dedicate themselves to the army, and they have problems to connect with their kids. So this organization actually is trying through their work and their content to reduce the gap between these kids and their parents. And for that, what I wanted to show you is that actually they developed a pretty interesting inbound marketing strategy that has positioned them in the search engine. When you look about subjects of parents or whatever, they come like top references, right? And also I wanted just to make an emphasis on the area here that makes free resources, okay? Because what I wanted to show you here is that once they define who their persona was, okay, parents that are usually in the army and that have problems communicating with their kids and that have between 35 and 45 years old and that are seeking actually to reconnect with their kids. Once they had that, okay, they started actually then generating the content. That is what you see here as free resources for that, okay, and other organizations. And then you have different types of content also. You have either ebooks or on-demand webinars or fatherhood research. And as we see, these are different type of contents because they actually respond to different buyers' journeys that these parents may have. So when they're trying to see like how to better connect with their kids, maybe an ebook pops up. But when they're trying to learn skills on how to connect with their kids, then the webinar on how to connect with the kids might appear. Okay, so this is also trying to leverage the point that I made before, that content has a context. Okay, when we talk about inbound marketing, that's the thing. That's the key thing. Another example that you see here, it's with the case of the Montessori method. They have what we call as buyer persona is usually known as the mom MENA. Mom MENA is a mom that is between 35 and 42 years. She gains around $60,000 a year. She is highly worried about their kids. Like, there's a whole definition of the mom MENA I can share with you, but this highlights the point once again that content begins by understanding who your persona is. Montessori did their research. Who is my persona? They named it, and then they said, okay, now that I know who is my persona, in her journey, how can I get, okay? When she goes through awareness, what content can I generate? Then they generated an ebook, okay, that tackle one of the main problems that she faces, okay, and that thanks to that ebook, now she can define the problem. And they are the ones framing, by the way, the definition of the problem, which is, it's very powerful to frame someone's problem because it allows you to position better your product or your service, right? So in this moment of awareness is key. Then they also, when it comes to consideration, provided another content, a questionnaire that allows her, when she goes through the questionnaire, actually to come to consider Montessori and in this way provided as the best solution for her to buy, okay? So this is an example of content that actually responds to a persona and that is associated to the buyer journey, and that varies, okay? Kind of what I wanted to do. Now, the final pillar of what we call our inbound marketing, okay, or that is key for the development of our inbound marketing strategy, is our goals, okay? Simply, okay, this is the other key element, okay? So it's basically where are we gonna focus ourselves. We must know where we want to go, and we also want to have a smart goals about it, okay? And I put you here an example because sometimes we make the marketing plans too very nice, but like it doesn't come to be precise, okay? So make your goals smart. Okay, people, let's make it smart. How many customers you want, how many leads you want to generate, how many web visits you're hoping, this is what we're talking about. As we saw, inbound marketing is not only about understanding the persona and the buyers, but also understanding their association with your marketing funnel, right? So you're always also generating content in order to achieve the goals that you set in that marketing funnel for you to have an amazingly working marketing machine, yeah, as we saw before. Okay, so close with that, let's go to the last 2 points that we discussed at the beginning that we were going to touch upon, and it's a little bit about the inbound tools, okay? And we actually cover a bit in the area of the logistics, but what I didn't have a chance to cover in that area, that here you can have it, is how actually we can associate the tools, okay, that we use with the buyer's journey, okay, and also with the conversion of our funnel, yeah? So as you see, actually, tools and the buyer journey and the funnel are all connected, okay? Now, once again, when we talk about tools, usually in inbound marketing, we're talking about web page, blogs, social networks, landing pages, call to action, e-marketing. But we're also talking about some software solutions that have emerged that allows us to do our work easier, right? We have the cases of, for example, HubSpot or other more precise and niche solutions, Optimize or Brandwatch, that sometimes are solutions or that enter to support the work that we do with our social media or managing our web page and landing pages or doing our email marketing. Like sometimes there are softwares that are very special, okay? In here, I think I had something important to share, okay? That because I know sometimes if you are an early stage startup, you necessarily don't have this, although some of the softwares are actually free. You have some free version that you can use. So in the thing of what we talked about, like having some goals associated to your content, I wanted to show you, right? Usually you have your SMART goals, you have themes associated, like your organization or your startup has themes in which they want to position themselves, they want to work at, right? And even within those themes, you have topics, and more important, within those topics, there are key areas that you want people to associate you to, okay? And that's precisely what you gotta have clear, because you develop your campaigns thinking of this. Oh, okay, so I have this goal, I have this theme, I want people to associate me to this, so then I do the following things. Yeah, you have workshops, events, webinars, emails, Facebook channels in which you are going to actually then position the different type of contents that we discussed before. The ebooks, the articles, the podcasts, yeah, there are different types, okay? The other thing is that when we talked about not only like the content, how we should like organize it, like, and associated to our goals, but we also talk about auditing the content, right? When we talk about auditing the content, it's basically always being aware or keeping track of that content that you're generating, how it's associated to a buyer's journey stage, how that's impacting your marketing funnel, and through which type of content you are actually achieving that, right? So what I wanted to show you here is kind of a way in which you kind of structure the audit of your content, and then how you associate your content to what you call your SMART goals, okay? So as I said before, I'm not innocent. I have some biases. So I'm going to present here some organizations which I think have remarkable content. It's open for discussion with you. I brought you the case of Eastern Peak, okay? This is a founder. He works in the area of mobile and web development outsourcing. They were entering the UK market, and they went through an inbound marketing that was actually first, it worked on everything that had to do with search engine optimization. So when you go maybe or check out their webpage, you would see like they have special distribution, some titles, everything that actually help them build. They have gotten a lot of what you call qualified sales lead since they started to generate what they have, which is an area of blogs, okay? So yeah, they basically started to generate content, but the content was actually associated to buyers. They have different personas, but it was associated to the different stages of these personas. So, and they have pretty good content. So I thought it would be a great example to bring it, so you guys can go and check it out, especially how they do their content. They have quality content, you know, like, so it's very nice to have an example, right? Of course, I brought you HubSpot. It's like, you know, like the reference when it comes to inbound marketing. I want you like to check also that when you look for them in the search engine, like they have trafficked to their different, not only like to the homepage, but to the different pages, which is actually a work that we also sometimes do in inbound marketing. You don't want people only to be in your homepage, but go to the different pages. And they have interesting examples of content, okay, which can allow you just to see what can I do in my organization, you know, and you have some nice examples. I brought you also Brownwatch, okay, great generating user cases. Sometimes if you are like in the IT industry, or this is very useful because people want social proof, right? Social proof, and study cases are very nice to show this, right? So this is another example. Okay, so sweet and short. Hopefully, let's have then the questions on this. Okay, see, where can I see the questions? Ah, I will go here.
Can you see the chat?
Let me see here.
There's that everyone has a general forum.
Cool. Let's see. Questions now. Very happy for this. Okay. Nastasia, could you clarify later what is the difference between the buyer's persona and the customer? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So usually when we're talking about the buyer's persona, we're talking about your customer. Okay? Egal is the same. When I'm talking about your buyer's persona, it's that customer, okay, that you're trying to talk. Okay, interesting, good question. Let's see the next one. As for me, decision is the most challenging of the journey. As for me, decision is the most challenging of the journey. Okay, cool. So Emmanuel, yeah. So definitely decision can come to be one of the most challenging phases sometimes for us if we haven't done or put a lot of efforts in the preliminary stage. What do I mean with this? Usually when we are creating content that allows us to frame the problem definition of our buyer's persona or of our customer, and that we also have a lot of good content showing the solutions that he can have, and it's us putting how we would do it, how we would solve it, how it can be done. It makes it easier to actually make him come to us, okay, to buy the product or the service. Okay, of course you're competing against others, right? So let me give you an example. At the moment I'm working with an organization that is called Impact. As you know, there's a lot of organizations that are working in the area of entrepreneurship, and all of them are doing a great job. Okay, so to actually differentiate, especially for those that are here in Berlin, the decision point comes to be, as you say, very difficult. How do we achieve that they picked us? Okay, and not, for example, the other organizations that are in Berlin. What we started to do actually is generate more content to our persona, okay, especially in the awareness phase and in then what you call the consideration stage. And this has actually allowed us to make it easier when it comes for him or her to make a decision that we're actually the right choice for them to do their mentorship program, or for them to do their to pick as co-working space, etc. Right. So the thing was that before we were focusing too much in advertising the product and the service directly. We're good, we're giving you this is what we have. But at no point we were actually generating content on the problem or the alternatives. What are all the, like, for example, we did an interesting benchmark table, right? And of course the benchmark table didn't say we're the one, right? But this actually provided information to the entrepreneurs here in Berlin, and then they picked for a program that we had, right? So we changed the focus. We were always generating content before the decision stage. And when we started to generate content for the awareness stage and the consideration stage, it was easier for us to generate marketing qualified leads, and more important, which is my area of work, sales qualified leads. Okay, so let's check this out. Maybe you have to put a little bit more of effort in this 2 stages. And what you can do is just analyze it, as we said, okay? Google Analytics can be very useful here as a tool to track your content, okay? Let's see, I need to leave, but thanks, okay. Fine. So if your business has more than one buyer's persona, you need to have different inbound marketing strategies, or you can integrate. Yeah, okay, you can differ, of course, or your buyer's personas come into what you call your inbound marketing strategy. What is gonna be different, Emmanuel, is the message that you generate for them in their buyer's journey, right? Because there are different personas, they have different challenges, right? And there are different ways in which you're trying to solve those challenges. So what's gonna vary is the content. Let's remember that in inbound marketing, the content is very tailored. Hence, according to your buyer's persona, you will have a content for them, right? Cool. Andres, I have to run to meet, but this was great. Will you send the recording? Yes. Yes, I will give the girls from Bridge for Billions the checklist. I prepare for you a checklist also on the matter of inbound marketing. So you don't have only the content template, the compass, or the audit, but you have a little checklist to go through according to the stage, what to consider. Okay, and for those of you that like to track and that are like me, that are founders that really like to have their numbers, you will also have a little template to track your efforts. Okay, I didn't have this before, it has been useful, so we all can have them too. Cool. Any other question?
Natasha, can I make a question?
Yeah, sure.
The case, for example, from Emmanuel's, who targets children.
Yeah.
Is buyer's persona the children or the families?
Okay, yeah, so this is very interesting. Because Emmanuel, could use, once again, you told me that what you're trying is to foster more of an entrepreneurial mentality in the kids, right? Is this right? I will be here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think yeah, I think it should be the families.
Yeah. Exactly. If you want
we target children from low income.
Yeah. If what you want to do is like try to foster more of an entrepreneurship mentality within the kids, so they can actually be able to generate their own initiative, and hence they can provide for themselves a business in the future or an employment, right? Who are you actually targeting is the father of those kids, right? Yeah. And your content actually, a great idea would be like to try to show there's a problem that these parents are seeing, right? That maybe their kids won't have job opportunities, and this won't give them the quality of life that they deserve, right? So there can be something that they can actually do to increase the possibilities for their kids to have a great job and to have better opportunities, okay? What's this? This is gonna be through education, right? So this first thing is to raise the awareness, and with whom you gotta focus on raising awareness is in the parents of the importance of defining this problem. You gotta define the problem for them. Okay, then in the consideration stage, you try to inform them of what are different solutions that exist for their kids to actually, in this environment, in this context, to have a better future tomorrow. Okay, and why within those solutions, actually, there is one call, and this is when you introduce into the agenda. Okay, and what are the advantages of it, what it can generate. Okay, but you in this moment, remember, what you're trying is to educate them, to present this view, okay? To present it as an alternative. And then comes to making the choice, yeah? How this is gonna be actually the right choice for them in contrast to the other ones, right? And then here's where you can show how other parents that actually have brought your kids to receive this education that you bring have seen changes in their kids. Here's where you got to show off the product. Yeah, in this choice stage, you can actually advertise and show all the benefits of your products. But first, you gotta do these other things. And yes, definitely it will be the parents, right? The parents are the ones that actually will bring the kids to you, right? Or also, you can think about the schools, right? Are you talking with the schools? Because I imagine that in the city that you are trying to provide your service, you have also schools. Because also it could be very interesting for you to show schools the benefits that, or maybe after schools kids have this option, right, of doing this activity that you offer, how this could impact, etc., right? So yeah, don't think too little, don't be too narrow when it comes to who could be the different buyers persona. What is important is that you tailor the content to each of them, okay, and that you build a narrative.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, yes, of course, you would have this information. I would just give it everything today. You would have the presentation, the information, everything, don't worry.
Okay, I was just asking in the chat as well. Do you have any questions, Admir, Martin? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Okay.
Okay. Well, then it just, no question at the moment. Once you start doing this, you'll see. You'll initiate your own buyer's journey for solutions. Okay, great. Well, great you like it, guys. Great you like it.
Thank you so much, Nastasia. Thank you for sharing your experience also as an entrepreneur and as a founder and working with a lot of startups. Thank you for all your energy as well.
No, I'm happy to help. I just feel like, sadly, when we start our initiative as a founder, this is not like school, you know, that we're guided. So sometimes it's very tough, especially when we have to do it ourselves. But we're here for each other. We can do this. So let's do it.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank everyone that was here. Some had to leave before, but they will receive the recording anyway. If you have anything else you would like to ask, if you'd like to share anything, you can always do it on the community as well, and we'll be happy to forward it to Nastasia. And the materials that she will send us, we will send you guys, of course. I will make a challenge here for the ones that are still here. I will say a word that comes to my head when about this hour and 10 minutes that we were here.
Oh my!
I was very good. And I invite you all to do the same. My word is strategy. And you can do it with your mic or just writing on the chat.
Can I share my challenge?
Challenge. What about you guys? Julie was here. Do you have a word for this experience?
Content, yes! Right, Emmanuel, that was the key one.
Overviewing and doing some inbound on the side. Emmanuel says content. Very good. Okay, mine is attraction.
Uh-huh.
Very good.
Julie says that she was doing some inbound on the side.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Nastasia.
A pleasure, guys. I'll send you then the content. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.